Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be doing what we normally do when we make videos. That's taking a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Link's price. Now, I actually want to go over something that one of the private bear members, get a shout out to Baloo on this one, and we'll take a quick look at Wi-Fi, UNI, Aave, and BAN, but only very briefly to kind of go over something that I missed, because in this sector, we're all learning, always, hopefully. So let's dive right in. You should be able to see the market on the screen now. We're going to start on Ethereum here instead of Bitcoin today. If you're in the private group, you would have gotten an email from us. Well, not just today, but about 2 weeks ago with what we're about to go over now. So remember, in the Wyckoff phaseology, what we're trying to do is understand when there's accumulation and when there's distribution. Sounds simple enough. Buy low, sell high. Now, in this particular area, as we zoom in on the screen here, what I want to point out to you, and we'll just go over this very quickly here, we've got our phase A, yeah, and then we've got our phase B, and then we've got our phase C. Now, phase A, B, and C are kind of boring. Well, apparently C is not boring. C is usually hallmarked by some type of cataclysmic moment in human sentiment where everybody is scared and there's literal blood in the streets. The pandemic happened to be our generation's version of a spring at this particular moment, or what's known as a phase D. Now, phase E is the exciting part, where we are now after we've already had our primary SOS. So SOS stands for a sign of strength, which we had between the months of July and August. Now, what I want to go over is what we sent out in the private bear group. Now, we made our original entries here between 380 and 404. I am sitting on a leverage play for Ethereum here, and I'm quite excited about it because it is a long-term leverage play. It's not like, oh, I'm day trading right now. One of the beauties about this type of market scenario is it gives us a lot of opportunity to make a lot of money, or in this case, a lot of Bitcoin, hopefully. So what we're looking at right now as we zoom in is this new area of reaccumulation. Now, if you've been studying with the bear family, you'll actually recognize this. So I'm going to draw it up here, and I'm just going to show you on one of our PDFs. Now, we've been doing educational material. There is like a 4 or 5 part PDF series that we've been going over. And if I flip over to this screen, you can see a reaccumulation after decline. So you've got your PSY, your BC, your ST, your secondary test, your automatic rally, the break against the creek and resistance, and the jump across. Look how similar that is. It's almost identical. So take it away. Look back here. Go back here. Bring these charts back. Okay. PSY, BC, ST, AR, ST down here, another resistance check, a jump across the creek here, the clear 50-day moving average, a retest of that jump across the creek right here, and then this breakout. Now, what's interesting about this is that it's almost picture perfect. The backup, the final breakout, the SOS, return to the top of the box, and now this rising SOS, which looks like almost a rising pennant effectively. So we're currently sitting at $475 for Ethereum, and I do believe we're going to hit the 2618 extension of our trading range. This is the first target on my list from that long that I took at 380 to 404, and that is the $540 area, and just a little bit below that to the $535 area. This represents the 2618 extension, and we have marks up here at 3618, and even further the 4236 up here as well at 800. Boom. Now, I do suspect in the long term of this story, Ethereum is going to go much higher. Everyone, please remember that Ethereum is probably going to be an extremely valuable asset. Now, we could argue about things like Avalanche replacing it potentially, but it's already made a big impact in the space, and a lot of the DeFi sector is building on Ethereum. Now, they could probably easily transition a lot of this stuff onto Avalanche or onto other chains, whether it's Tron, who knows, there's lots of choices, but right now I think Ethereum is winning the cake, and with Ethereum 2.0 not that far around the corner, for those of you who don't know, you can become a validator. Ethereum is moving into a proof of stake method, so you will be rewarded for your staking. So everyone that's staking Ethereum right now is getting a 21.6% APR on their staked Ethereum. That is huge to become a validator. So one of the reasons why I'm trying to accumulate so much Ethereum right now is just so that I can run validators for Ethereum 2.0, because it's going to basically generate passive income on fees to something like an anyways. well, if you guys check out launchpad.ethereum.org, you can do some more research here. I suggest you do it. So we're just moving into that, again, the phase 0, which is the movement into the POS consensus system, and it tracks the validation of balances. So that's where we are right now. And again, what I'm looking for is a much higher price point. Again, we've got our first big resistance up at 1022, but this is what we're looking for. First one at 540, second one at 680, and then we'll likely see SOSs and LPSs do something like this before we get a much bigger move outwards. So I'm keeping a really close eye on Ethereum. My goal here is to continue to build into my leverage position. Every time there's an SOS and every time there's an SOS, I will be de-risking my leverage position, and every time there's an LPS, I will be re-risking more of my leverage and margin position. So I'm very excited about Ethereum. And again, just look at how textbook this reaccumulation pattern has turned out. Now, for those of you that have been following us from time, you will have been following us the entire trading range. So now that we see this kind of final pennant breakout through the top of the trading range, and it's likely going to come back down, maybe test 464 and the 9 simple moving average on the 4 hour here. And then again, look at this, perfect. It's like a textbook play. Now, I'm always a little weary when things look textbook, so please bear in mind there are other scenarios here where we could temporarily come lower. We could go, okay, this is a cup and handle, and we come back down and back test 420 before taking off. That's a very high possibility as well. Cup and handle. It would fit the multi-month cup and handle region that we look for. Anyone that's charting a cup and handle on a shorter time frame has no idea what they're talking about. But more importantly, this covers from September till November, which does fit in the cup and handle multi-month time frame, which is what you're looking for as a minimum. So with that in mind, currently sitting at 475, at the longs that we entered down here at 380, we are a sweet 20 times 6, 140% in profit, more or less, for this trade already in the last, what was this, 13 days. I'm feeling very, very excited about that. Now, I want to take a look at Bitcoin and Link a little more quickly here. Bitcoin, obviously, our market alpha. This is our money. We could make conjecture, again, I've said a few times, multiple times, that we could have an SOS that very easily runs up and hits around 17,000 after 16,500. We looked at, there's even case to believe that we get that as high as 19,000. So let's back test this idea. Let's go from our reaccumulation to the breakout of the SOS. If we go to 19,000, that's a 72% breakout from the reaccumulation area that we've been witnessing in this rising gradient bottom, highlighted by this pink area here. If we look at Ethereum and we measure from the previous accumulation range, which was right here, I'll highlight it, this one again in pink. We saw this was our reaccumulation range from before we had our SOS. And for Ethereum, from reaccumulation to the top of the SOS was almost 100%. So I'm not going to argue against Bitcoin potentially going to $19,000 on this SOS before creating its final backup phase. Now, what's important here is to remember to be focused on the long-term adjunct of the story, because that's where we can make the most successful trades, and we are the most confident about those trades as we're making them, because it might require you sleep on them for the next few months, right? Remember, we've been in accumulation for over 1,200 days in Ethereum and 800 days in Bitcoin, so no need to rush. So I'm still looking for an eventual backup. It's probably going to, just to creep everyone out, it'll go to 19,000 and then create its backup phase. Just because the markets like to screw with people. Oh my God, it's going to new all-time highs. It's going to $100,000 next week, blah, 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 blah. Get anybody buy now. That's probably when we'll start to see the SOS. We're not, or the backup after the SOS. We're not too far away from that. Having to remember from the accumulation phase in a bigger token, you're looking at 40 to 50%. This is a huge amount of upside for that move already. So I will finish off with Link, Wi-Fi, Aave, Uni, Band really quickly. Here we are looking at Chainlink. Again, we've gone over this multiple times. We're actually looking, I'll take the 3 MAs here. I guess they kind of mess it up, but I do like using the moving averages every time I'm looking at a trade. So here we see this very clear reaccumulation pattern of a horizontal trading range. We see the rising gradient bottom through the accumulation bottom pattern, which is basically this is our spring effectively in this reaccumulation zone. So this is our next SOS and LPS. I do suspect we'll be headed towards $16 for Link next. Now, one of the things I want to highlight here, I think that's important, is something that one of our private bear members brought up. I believe he was looking at UNI USD. Is that what it was? Yeah, I believe it was UNI USD. Now, I don't have, actually, I probably have his chart open in the private bear, but I'll just give him a shout out. Shout out to Baloo in the private den. What he was pointing out was these falling accumulation patterns, which was very interesting to me. So what you can, I'm going to point this out here. See this stopping action in the spring? This is indicative of phase C effectively. So you had phase, here's your automatic rally, here's your secondary tests, your final spring, here's the stopping action on that spring, your SOS, your backup phase here, and then your first SOS. So the fact that we're seeing these reaccumulation patterns now on Uniswap, on Wi-Fi, on Aave, etc. So we'll take a quick look at Band now. I believe Band, again, quite a similar process here. You have your automatic rally, your phase B, here's your phase C, and that ultimate stopping action you can see at the bottom of this spring, your first backup, and then likely what's going to be an SOS out to the top. Now, I'm sure we could actually chart Band against US dollars here too. You know, as these ecosystems grow and there's more and more stable coins and leverage stablecoin trading in the system, I think moving into charting against US dollars for some of these makes more sense. Currently, I don't think that yet fully, but I can definitely see how that's viable. In Wi-Fi, we see another very similar action. Here's your spring, and look at this stopping action on the volume here. Clear indicator, followed by this kind of backup phase. So I'm keeping a close eye on the DeFi sector because I believe it's going to be fucking huge. I think it's a lot bigger than the Bitcoin maximalists understand. I believe at this point right now that DeFi has the opportunity to become as big, if not bigger than Bitcoin. Now, someone will probably chop me up for saying that, but understand that Bitcoin's money, right? But money's not worth anything unless you have products and services and loans and interests and debt and collateralization and securities and equity and companies and wealth creation through new products like SpaceX and shit like that, right? Money's worthless if you don't have those other things, because what would you spend your money on, right? If you just have all this Bitcoin, you couldn't spend it on anything, it would be useless. It would be not money then. So money needs the rest of the business ecosystem to be working for money to have value. Otherwise, you'd much rather have water and food over anything that you couldn't use at that moment to survive. Anyways, with that in mind, I think it's critical to keep a very, very potent eye on the rest of the DeFi sector. So we will be doing that. We are very close to being able to add our new secondary newsletter. We're going to be giving it away to all of our private bear members. The first few months it'll just be included in your membership. And then as the deep dives get deeper and our researchers get more researchery from lawyers type deep dives into the people that are starting these seed stage capital investments into companies that don't even really exist yet. There's a lot of potential there, and that's one of the areas I'm most interested in, and the DeFi sector has a lot of that now, so we'll be keeping a very close eye on it. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for joining us. If you haven't yet joined our private newsletter, if you want to support us but can't afford to join the private newsletter, just give us a thumbs up, leave your comments, join any of our affiliate links down below, from BlockFi to Binance to Bybit and FTX. It helps us hire more researcher-like people, that's for sure. And because I'm not one of them, obviously. I'm a talker, and I'm good at data analyzing money in already moving markets. Finding the market and the companies before they exist is not necessarily my specialty, but we're working on it, and I'm very excited to bring that next stage of this to you guys. Thank you for joining us this evening. If we can do anything for you, remember to just email us at info@arcanebear.com. We'll try to help you out. Yeah, and we'll see you guys again on the next episode. Oh wait, yeah, by the way, there's probably no intro for today, so if there is no intro, it just starts with me talking. It's because I got up, jumped on the motorbike and drove through the mountains at like 6 in the morning. It was cold. Anyways, love you guys. See you again soon. Bye.